Thank you for listening to the Good Neighbor Podcast, West Denver. Here's a quick message from our sponsor, Local Works Wheat Ridge, provided by its Executive Director, Paige Piper.
Local Works is a nonprofit organization whose mission is to make Wheat Ridge a more vibrant and sustainable place to live and work. Our mission and action is programming that provides neighborhood revitalization and small business support, keeping and growing the businesses we know and love in Wheat Ridge. In simpler form, we provide connection. Connection to business, connection to community.
This is the Good Neighbor Podcast, the place where local businesses and neighbors come together. Here's your host, Amber Betts.
Hey there, this is Amber Betts with the Good Neighbor Podcast, West Denver. Thanks for listening. I am on today with Miguel Remillard with Elk Run Assisted Living in Evergreen. How are you, Miguel? Thanks for being here.
Thank you, Amber. I'm great being here. Thank you for having me on your podcast today.
Yay. So tell us a little bit about the facility and the business.
Absolutely. So Elk Run Assisted Living is a nonprofit community that assists in the elderly and geriatric residents of Evergreen and, of course, the surrounding areas. So ultimately, what we specialize is just giving that quality of care back to our community members who are definitely aging in the community.
Okay, great to know. And tell me about why you got into the business, how you got started.
Well, take you back 17 years ago, I started in the business. So I'm now an executive director, and I started off as a caregiver, really being able to work with my mother in geriatrics and nursing homes and just really work my way throughout the entire chains to get to an executive directorship by learning from my mom of how to really work with the geriatric residents and how to care for them. And then that also told me, how can you be a better leader for also team members as well? And so just joining both worlds of just bringing residents together as well as team members together, and how you can really make healthcare a place where there's a nice harmony between both residents and team members.
Got it. That's great to hear. So tell us about why folks or families choose you guys over somebody else.
You know, when I first walked into Elk Run Assisted Living, what you immediately felt was the warm and welcoming of every single resident and team member, a sense of community, especially being in Evergreen, a smaller community outside of Colorado, outside of Denver. That definitely felt the warmth and welcome when you walked into the building. And many times often when someone comes in here and says, I'm looking for a place for my mother and my father, and they feel that warmth immediately, they tell us every place is aesthetically pleasing, but this place brings you the warmth and welcome.
Oh, wow. I like that. So any challenges or hardships or things in your life that kind of you rose above or it made you better for that you want to share with us?
Absolutely. We all been through COVID. And so definitely
right?
More so COVID and healthcare is something that was definitely a challenge. You've seen many of the loved people that you worked with pass away. You've seen many of the people that you enjoyed working with no longer work in healthcare. It was definitely a challenge because many people come to healthcare because of the heart they have. And especially working with the elderly takes a more exceptional heart. And so when you see the people pass away during COVID, and when you see people leave this field, it really tells yourself, what can I do to make sure that this doesn't happen again? And I survived through COVID, and I know everyone else will survive through COVID, especially through healthcare, keeping those memories of the residents you have, but also knowing that you're here for a purpose and continue that purpose of what you're doing.
Yeah, definitely. I'm sure that resonates with a lot of people. Tell us about any news or specials or updates you have to share.
Absolutely. So right now we're currently doing a newsletter for our residents of Elk Run Assisted Living. And some of those things we're doing is just really partnering with the entire community of Evergreen. We have one resident specifically making knitted hats for the winter season so that she can give back to the community as they're looking for donations to donate to Elk Run Assisted Living. And so we're really getting our name out there at this time. We're a hidden gem here in Evergreen. And so now it's the time that as we go through our renovation process, after being 23 years old, we're finally getting updated and bringing the community in and showing them what we're capable of doing, not just that warmth and welcoming.
Amazing. So you kind of mentioned a little bit about getting involved with the community. Anything else you want to share? Or what else are you doing in the community or, anything to elaborate?
Absolutely. It's a sense of community here. No matter where you are at, you always have to have a sense of community. And it's just, how do you highlight yourself while highlighting others? And so currently partnering with many artists here in the local area of Evergreen, you'll walk down our hallway and not one of these pieces of artwork are from your generic place that you're buying from. These are all local artists that are hanging their artwork into our community that really helps expose them as artists, but really makes Elk Run almost a museum when you're walking in. You're enjoying the artwork from local artists. You're partnering with other people from other restaurants coming in here to do demonstrations as well.
That's cool. I really like that. I'll have to come check it out for sure.
Most definitely.
So Miguel, I'm sure you stay really busy, but what else do you do for fun? What are you doing outside of work?
Outside of work. So currently, I just like to be involved with the community. And of course, as we get ready for the winter season, it's really hard to see anyone currently on the street. And so one of the biggest things I do is I make the big chunky blankets. And so I'm knitting the big chunky blankets. And that's what I do in my fun time. And when I'm not knitting a blanket, what I'm also doing is playing the piano. It's one of my most calming pieces and one of the most fun things of the day, playing the piano, whether it's just for me to hear myself or whether it's playing for the residents as well.
That is so sweet. Well, tell us any kind of last words, like anything you missed or want to mention?
Yes, I definitely want to say, part of any community, no matter where you are at, it's just a sense of community coming together. It takes an entire community to really help raise any awareness when it comes to that community, when it comes to geriatrics, when it comes to local artists. Is coming together and really empowering each other is really where we're going to see a difference when it comes to our community.
I love that. All right. So you've mentioned you're in Evergreen, but tell us about your location, how to reach you, your website, all that good stuff.
Absolutely. So I'm currently in Arvada. So if you are just really reaching out, you can reach me out anytime. I usually invest that email at this time, especially this day and age. But if you want to reach us at Elk Run Assisted Living, we have a social media that you can find, Elk Run Assisted Living. We're currently in the process of creating more social media to just get our name out there and become more of an unhidden gem here in Evergreen.
Great. Well, I appreciate your time, Miguel. Thanks to the listeners, and we hope everybody has a good day. Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Good Neighbor Podcast. To nominate your favorite local businesses to be featured on the show, go to gnpwestdenver.com. That's gnpwestdenver.com or call 720-295-9588.